Stock market investors, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about SoFi stock and how Wall Street has very high expectations for them this upcoming quarter. SoFi has seen a great 3 months, up over 25%. The past month, up 12%. Past week, up about 14%, right? In this little baby account, I have 230 shares at a $7.42 average, right? Those expectations that I'm talking about are right here, right? Q3 2024 estimated 4 cents per share. Last quarter, we only did 1 cent of EPS, and the 2 quarters before that, we did 2 cents of EPS. So right now, Wall Street is expecting a huge jump up from 1 cent to 4 cents from last quarter and a double up from the greatest EPS quarter SoFi has ever had in the history of this business. Can they meet these lofty expectations that Wall Street is putting on them? I'm going to go over the numbers. We'll see what Wall Street is expecting them to do revenue-wise and see if can they get to that 4 cents of EPS and what they have to do as a business to achieve that goal. One thing SoFi and Anthony Noto have done quarter after quarter is under promise and over deliver. Will that continue? Let's find out. All right, SoFi fam, if you take a look at the screen right now, this is the analysis page for Yahoo Finance, right? This is going to show you how many analysts are covering SoFi and their expectations, right? So in this quarter, there's 12 analysts covering SoFi stock. The average estimate is 4 cents per share. The low end of estimate is 3 cents, and then we have a high end of 5 cents per share. A year ago, SoFi lost 29 cents per share. So the rapid acceleration in profitability for SoFi is unbelievable. Like, I just don't understand how a stock can go from losing 29 cents to potentially earning 4 to 5 cents per share in 1 year, and people are still shorting this stock. Make it make sense to me. Like, what is the end game in trying to short a company that is doing this well? Like, it, honest to gosh, makes no sense to me at all whatsoever, right? All right, investors, I'm going to take you guys down to the revenue estimate section of this Yahoo Finance page. 10 out of the 12 analysts are going to give us estimates for revenue for this upcoming quarter, right? The average estimate is coming in at $631 million. The low estimate is about $627 million, and the high estimate all the way up to $635 million. A year ago, sales were at $530 million. That's a sales growth revenue-wise of 19%. If we go over to the report from last quarter's earnings, we go to the quarterly performance page. Adjusted net revenue of $597 million, up 22% year-over-year growth, and adjusted EBITDA of $138 million at a 23% margin, right? So, last quarter, Q2 2024, we made the most money revenue-wise in company history at $597 million, right? So the estimates, even on the low end, $626 million, $631 for the average, and $635 for the high, is between 5 and 7% increase from last quarter, right? So that's a pretty big jump quarter over quarter. If you extrapolate that over a year, we're talking, 18 to 25-ish%, depending on each quarter, right? So we have a lot of things to look forward to this quarter. One thing I really want to talk to you guys about is the members. We're going to cross over 9 million members in this upcoming quarter, right? So the question we're trying to ask is whether or not we could do 4 or even 5 cents of EPS, or on the low end, 3 cents of EPS, right? In order for us to guesstimate if SoFi can in fact get to 3, 4, or 5 cents of EPS in this upcoming quarter, we have to take into consideration that revenue sales are going to be up 5 to 6-ish%, right? And then we're going to have to cut some of these expenses, right? $2 billion worth of expenses over the last year. So we got to figure out like what areas could they potentially cut expenses, right? So if we do $2 billion in expenses for the year, we have about, right, $500 million per quarter in expenses, right? And we have to come in lower than that 500 million, in my opinion, to earn, 3, 4, or 5 cents of EPS, right? So we have to really look at G&A. G&A is coming in at about $1 billion. So that's about $250,000 per quarter and general and administrative expenses. Sales and marketing around $700 million. So we're looking about 130, 140 million-ish dollars per quarter, right? And then other, that's at 300 million. So, we're looking about a little less than $100 million in this other category. So I think that sales and marketing, we got to start to lower that quarter after quarter. I want to see that come in, 700 million. You divide that by 4. You're looking at, a little less than 200 million, like 175 million per quarter. So I wanted to see it to be in that range. If we can get it down to 150 million per quarter, that comes in at around $600 million extrapolated out for 12 months. So that's in the right direction. G&A is high too. I want to see that for a year come under $1 billion. So I want to see under $250 million in G&A this quarter. I want to see sales and marketing, in that $150 to $165 million range. And other, we always want to see that decrease a little bit. If we can get that in that 60 to 70 million per quarter, that would be great too. So we're getting about 5 to 6% more revenue, right? And if we have a blowout quarter, we get to $650 million in revenue, right? So we have to really decrease expenses if we want to get to 4 or 5 cents of EPS. Unless they blow these estimates out of the water and we come in at like 700 million, then the expenses can kind of stay the same. But we have to keep our eye on these expenses and they have to come down, and we have to see it consistently come down over time so we get more and more profitable, so we can earn more money for the billion outstanding SoFi shares that are kind of out floating around in the universe, right? So I think it's doable, right? I think if we can shave off, 5 to 10% on these numbers quarterly, then 4, maybe 5 cents is doable. But unless these expenses go down, we're probably going to be more in that 2 to 3 cents of EPS range. And if we come in lower than Wall Street estimates of 4 cents, it's not going to be good for SoFi stock. So we want to come in line at 4 cents, but there's a lot of moving parts, guys. So we either have to crush it with credit cards or Galileo accounts or more loans. I think SoFi, Anthony Noto, and the team are seeing the writing on the wall. These interest rates are going to come down, so I'm expecting a ramp up, maybe even a significant ramp up in lending this past quarter. So we'll see how that plays out. That's kind of what I'm estimating. I think we can do $650 million in revenue this quarter. That's what I'm predicting, $650 million. That is my high end on the upside. Hopefully we can do that. That'll be around a 6.5 to 7% increase from last quarter. Remember, we only did 1 cent of EPS last quarter, so we're going to need to ramp up lending a little bit in order for us to get to that 4 cents that Wall Street's estimating, or some ancillary expenses, like stock-based compensation, stuff like that. All those little things, when you look at the broad scope of all these different expenses, really adds up over time, right? So hopefully we're starting to decrease sales and marketing a little bit, because they've been going hard in the paint, super hard in the paint with sales and marketing, right? They've been really pushing this brand out to as many people as possible. So over time, we're going to start to see that decrease. And then once we get over, I'm expecting next quarter, not this one coming up, but the next one, we're going to hit 10 million subscribers, or people who are a part of the SoFi family, right? And that's huge. 10 million members is great. And over time, our assets are doing better and better and better as a bank, and we're climbing up that chart of the biggest banks in the United States. So make sure we keep an eye on that as we move forward as well. If you like these kind of SoFi updates, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. It means a lot to me, and we'll catch you on the next video. Peace.